What is up guys, Andy Forrester, Dean Runner here. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm giving you guys my first impressions of the Asics Novablast 4. So I can't believe we're on the 4th iteration of one of my favourite shoe lines ever produced, but how does the version 4 line up against the previous versions, and is it an upgrade, a downgrade, or is it just a little bit meh? We're going to be talking about all of that today. As with all first impressions videos, we're going to be covering how I tested it, give you a technical overview, and then, as I said, give you my first impressions. Quick disclaimer, this is a shoe that I purchased with my own money. End of. So we're going to be diving straight into this and letting you know how we tested it. So 2 runs logged in the Novablast 4 so far. Just like I like to try and do with as many shoes as I can, pop in a moderate run, steady run, zone 2, and a nice easy zone 1 run. So we'll start with the moderate run because that's what we did first. 1 hour, nice and steady, 6:30 something per mile. I put the stats on screen for you, and that was early Monday morning. Again, not really much B-roll there, pitch black, so couldn't get any nice shots of the shoe, but got out there, got it done. Versatility is the name of the game in the Novablast, and Zone 1 and Zone 2 work in previous versions have never been an issue, so I've got to say it was no issue for this one as well, although we'll talk about my thoughts and feelings on it a little bit later. And then the easy run, that was nice and easy. Enjoyed that one, 40 minutes out there, just plodding along. Again, pitch black, but it was a very, very enjoyable run. So yeah, 14-ish miles put in the shoe so far. And now let's go through the technical overview before I give you my first impressions. We'll start off by saying I went true to size in this shoe, UK size 13, like I have on all previous Novablasts. And we'll talk about sizing because the toe box has always been something that a lot of people have complained about in the Novablast, being too roomy, too baggy. I'm feeling like they've dialed it in much better on 3 and 4, even more so on this one. So I definitely recommend true to size with this shoe. In terms of the stack height, I just had to check there, 41.5 millimeters of stack in the heel, 33.5 in the forefoot, meaning we have an 8 millimeter heel to toe drop. And in my UK size 13, it comes in at 332 grams or 11.7 ounces. And as always, we'll start ourselves at the back of the shoe, talk about the heel counter, ankle collar, tongue, lacing, upper, midsole, and then the outsole. So we'll whiz through this. We'll start at the back here. We've got an engineered woven upper that goes all the way around the shoe, and that's starting at the back here. There's a heel cup in there or something to give a little bit of structure. There's a little tiny bit of flexion, but it really is quite sturdy back here. And if you trace my finger, you'll see that that is where the heel cup runs, just embedded into the fabric there, just to give a little bit of something. But the top here with a little flare away and the pull tab, that's nice and flexible, so it doesn't push up against the Achilles. And again, the cushioning around the back here, just like we've come to get used to with the Novablast, is lovely and soft, lovely and cushioned around there, quite thick plush padding. But again, as always, down the bottom here, it's very, very thin. So you get a nice comfortable fit as you slip your foot in. And the tongue itself is again medium plush, slightly angled in the cut, just to sit up on the ankle nicely. Paper thin at the top, but then, as I said, medium plush about 1 centimeter down, so that you get a bit of cushioning when you're trying to cinch the laces down. And it is indeed a gusseted tongue, meaning it's attached to the medial and lateral sides, and that's by some elastic inside the shoe. So again, that gives a nice hugged, wrapped feeling. The lacing system is pretty standard. We've got the eyelet holes there. They are staggered up the shoe, but you get a really nice lockdown in the shoe, and you do have that extra eyelet there to give you a little bit of security if you want to do the runner's knot. I've never had to do it in the Novablast, but it's there if you want to. So all of that kind of first initial bit is really, really comfortable. You get a good slip-in feel, nice and comfortable. The tongue wraps over the top of the foot, and you can get a really good lockdown. And then we move on to the breathable engineered woven upper. Very nice, comfy, a little bit stretchy, reminiscent for me of the previous Novablast. And the 1080 version 10, whatever I tested, or 11. It was a lovely little bit of stretch, a little bit of give, but not too much. It is breathable, but what I noticed this morning was when I was running in the rain, it has kind of soaked up that water a little bit, so just bear in mind, it does feel a little bit heavier now that it's a little bit wetter. When you get it fresh out of the box or you run in dry conditions, you won't have that issue, but it did seem to hold the water a little bit. But that's the upper, and it was very nice, very comfy, and as I mentioned earlier, toe box is a better fit. They've dialed it in better, and I feel like they're slowly getting a more universal fit, shall we say. I never minded the baggy toe box in the previous versions, a lot of you did, so you'll be pleased to hear that they're nailing that slowly but surely. And then we move on to the midsole. We've got a full big old chunk of Flight Foam Blast Plus Eco, which means there's 20% more, I don't know if it's recycled materials, I'll put the information on screen. It's basically a more eco-friendly way of making the midsole, and they're just trying to kind of reduce their carbon footprint, I guess, with some of these shoes, just like a lot of companies are. So that's the midsole, and it is what you expect in the Novablast, but we will talk about it a little bit because it does feel slightly different from the version 3, but overall it still has a very familiar feeling, and there's a big old chunk of it, 41.5, 33.5. It's a monster. There's a lot of cushioning there, but you still get that lovely trampoline effect, which I've known to come and love with this shoe. And then we've got the A-Heart rubber outsole, which I believe they've tweaked for this version to try and give you more grip. I would say, actually, when I was running this morning, I made a point of kind of testing the grip a little bit, doing some tighter corners, not necessarily just scuffing my feet, but seeing what the traction was like, and it did feel a little bit more solid underfoot. A lot of people with the previous version in Novablast 3 went for the TR version because it could be used on the roads and it gave better traction. I'd say this is probably not quite as good as a TR version, let's say, but they've definitely improved the grip from version 3. How much? It's not huge, but it's better. So just bear that in mind. We've got better grip on the bottom, but an extremely similar outsole pattern, meaning that if your Novablast 3 lasted a long time, I mean, I got 300 miles out of mine and it could have gone for way longer, then you'll continue to probably get the same out of this one as well. The Novablast is definitely a durable shoe, and I can't see it changing with this version. So that is it for the tech. All right, so let's get into my first impressions of this shoe. How did I find it? Oh, such conflicting thoughts on this thing. Okay, I'm gonna try and unpack this as best as possible. So let's start with the positives. I got into this shoe and I got that similar trampoline effect. Beautiful feeling. Love the Novablast. I love what it's all about. Love what Asics did like 4 years ago, whenever the first version came out. And I really appreciate what they're trying to continue in this shoe. But I do feel like we have a little bit of a lost identity with this thing. It's not quite sure where to plant itself. Let me give you a little bit of a weight history in my UK size 13. Version 1, 346 grams. Version 2, 355. Version 3, all the way down to 317, and now version 4 all the way back up to 332. Now if we take version 1 and version 2, although the version 1 was a 10mm drop and version 2 was an 8mm drop, you had two shoes there that were super soft, super bouncy, super cushioned, and a wonderful shoe. Version 1, slightly more versatile, I found. I could push anything from easy day runs all the way up to moderate day, all the way up to 400 meter repeats and everything in between. I did everything in that shoe and logged over 400 miles. Version 2, they reduced the stack height to 8mm, put 2 more mil in the forefoot, just kind of took away that kind of like forward momentum a little bit, but still super soft, super bouncy. And actually, that's the shoe I put the most miles in, over 500. Roll on version 3, we're talking a massive weight drop, new foam in there, lovely and lightweight. Suddenly this shoe that could do easy and moderate as a staple, but maybe sprinkle a little bit more on the top, could suddenly do a whole bigger range of stuff. I got over 300 miles in that shoe, and that was much more versatile and really enjoyable. And now roll on version 4, where we're talking about a shoe that's gone back up to 332 grams, and I kind of feel it's sat in between that pocket of, should it be an easy day plodder and a moderate day one only, or is it as versatile as version 3? My gut feeling is it's not as versatile, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First of all, the second I slipped my foot into this shoe and I did my moderate run, I didn't enjoy it as much as I did my easy run this morning. I felt the comfort levels in this shoe were wonderful, and it was exactly what I needed for my easy run this morning. The moderate run, I ran relatively fast and it was responsive and it gave me everything I wanted to, but it wasn't quite as enjoyable, and it did feel a little bit heavy and cumbersome compared to version 3, and I'm going to be honest with you, even some of the previous versions too. So I'm not 100% sure why. I know that people are talking about the foam. I would agree with a lot of what other people are saying, which is where I feel the foam isn't quite as lively and responsive. Whether that's the whole blend of eco materials in there as well, I don't know, and I'm not going to comment on that. I appreciate what they're trying to do in terms of reducing carbon footprint and stuff, and making shoes a little bit more sort of eco-friendly, but I don't know if it's had a detrimental effect on this one. So although it's early days, and I'm going to be honest with you and say I still get that wonderful trampoline effect, I still get that slip-in comfort that I expect from the Novablast, and I still get that similar ride. You know you're still in a Novablast shoe. You still tick all of those boxes, it's wonderful. Is it that much of an upgrade though from version 3? Is it different? We had one which was mind-blowing. We had two which came in and changed things a little bit, and for some they liked it, others they didn't. 3 came in and shook everything up. 4 has just kind of, I'll be honest with you, it feels a little bit like they've regressed a tiny bit. And I'm thinking to myself, would I as a consumer purchase 3 or 4? And I think after the first couple of runs already, I'd be leaning back towards the 3. I know this is early days for me to say, it's only a couple of runs, I need to break the shoe in a bit more, and of course I will. There'll be more testing on the shoe, so stick around for the channel for that, and the extra channel, I'll make sure I post some stuff on there too. But overall, first impressions, moderate run was a good 7, 7.5 out of 10. Easy run was more like a 9 out of 10. That's where I felt like it was really good. That's where I really enjoyed it. And that's where I kind of put that smile back on my face and gave me that Novablast feel. So those are my initial thoughts on the Novablast 4. Still a great shoe, still feeling very much like a Novablast and in the family. But has it regressed back towards 1 and 2? I think so. Now I appreciate weight gain in my UK size 13. The way that it gains weight is not going to be as much as if you're running in like a UK 7, 8 or 9. The difference between 3 and 4 is going to be less, so you probably won't notice it as much as me. It kind of exponentially grows a bit more as it gets up the sizes, so that's what you've got to bear in mind when you're watching this review. A UK size 13 is not as common as a lot of you guys out there wearing a 7, 8, 9 or maybe a 10. So there we go, those are my thoughts. We'll leave it there for now, more testing to come, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you grabbed one already? Have you picked it up? Have you tested it? Did you even get one at the New York Marathon Expo? I'd love to hear if you did, and if you put any miles in it, drop a comment below, let me know what your thoughts are already. It would be great to hear if you agree or disagree with me, or have your own thoughts. Please do let everyone know, it would be great to hear them. That's it from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving it a like, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to the channel for weekly running content. I'm off to drink a coffee, edit this video, and hopefully put some more miles in this shoe a little bit later on. Until next time.